Nice. Let's get into patch 11.14. So we'll run through this really quick because there's a lot of changes in this one. Akali, her Q can no longer be cast when dashing with her E, and the ultimate base recast damage is decreased. So some nerfs for Akali.
Is this not a crazy way to change this character?
It's wild.
Remember when they buffed her E to have 450 base damage?
Mm-hmm.
And now they're just removing mechanics instead of nerfing the E damage.
Yeah.
Yep. It's wild that like she's the fucking like one of the flashiest characters with so many things to link together, and they're like, let's take one of those away instead of maybe just dropping the ability that we doubled the damage of.
Yeah, it's crazy. Darius is getting some buffs back because he got Stridebreaker nerfed and gutted a couple patches ago. So his passive is getting buffed and his E Apprehend cooldown is getting buffed. Darius is a spooky character still, so watch out. He'll be back.
I hate that his passive is getting buffed.
It's very annoying. That does a lot.
It's wild. Mundo base attack speed is increased. Passive health regen now scales. Cooldown is increased early. Is that for the passive? Yeah. The Q now heals more when it hits a monster, and E now swats small monsters and does more damage to monsters. So they're pushing him towards jungle.
Yeah, they're trying to get him. I mean, he's like 50% win rate jungle, mid, whatever. He's 40% win rate jungle, like 40 flat. Like he is not a good jungler. I think they're trying to make him like playable. He's on like life support in the jungle right now. That being said, I have played against a lot of Mundo because I played so much top recently, and I don't think Mundo's that OP. Like outside of lane, I'm like, oh, he's just like slightly better like old Mundo. But holy fuck, in lane is he the most fucking miserable character to play against in the game.
Yeah.
Like the fact that you have to hard CC him to break his passive, and then if he picks up his thing, he heals that damage back that like comes off his passive. Like you have to practically play a character with two hard CCs to have a chance versus him, I find. Because like as a Tahm Kench player where my CC is I auto attack him 3 times, stun him, he breaks it, and then I have to auto attack him 3 more times to stun him again, is very, very frustrating because the combination of his passive and his ultimate regen just feels like there's never an opportunity to kill that character. And maybe it's like not as bad on other characters, but holy fuck, in lane, he is a nightmare to play against. It's very frustrating. Cool.
Nice. Garen, his Q bonus movement speed is increased and the ultimate damage from targets missing health is increased.
Ooh.
Buff Garen, buff Darius, buff Garen.
Graves is getting 280. Pog. Graves actually does do really well with 280. Like a lot of people meme this for most characters, but he actually is a character that, I mean, 280 is like more than 280 if you're like close to people. So
yeah,
yeah, it's really like 2.4 AD. And Lowy base movement speed up from 340 to 350. Who needs shoes?
Poggers.
Pretty big.
Speaking of who needs shoes, not Irelia because her ankles are getting broken. Her legs are getting broken. Base health and magic resist decreased. Health growth increased. Her passive max stacks have been decreased. Bonus attack speed per stack decreased early but increased later. Empowered damage decreased. Q bonus damage to minions now scales the champion level. W damage reduction now works against magic damage. Maximum damage is increased. E can no longer be recast while CC'd. Ultimate has a new passive, which is it reduces the Q cooldown by half a second, 1.5, and then 2.5 before ability haste.
Yeah, so it's a flat amount instead of a full reset, but you can still get the full reset if you have some CDR, I think is the point.
Yeah, this is a fucking weird like mini rework.
They don't mention anything about her Q like not resetting anymore.
Yeah, no, her
like,
Q still
killer passive.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
On the ulti proc though.
But no. So the ulti proc is off of her is off of her passive, where it applies the mark.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just an additional passive, like additional cooldown reduction on top of the
so it's
reset.
even more. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she's gonna be able to Q more, but basically everything else is worse. I guess except for W.
It's a lot of weird changes. I really don't think this is needed. The only change I really like, and it's a nerf, which I don't think she needs nerfs. I think she's like kind of a weak character already right now. Is I like the E change being having like a minimum. I guess it's like it's always the same like cast time or whatever, the missile travel time. Because like short dicking like 2 little like E's on someone
so
and
hard to
immediately
dodge.
CCing them, that was just so fucking hard. I guess that was
Yeah.
like the downside is like you don't get as long of a stun, but holy fuck, in lane that was a miserable way to use that ability. But that's probably a good
you
change.
really need a long stun in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
Alright.
When you guys say long stun, you mean like distance or
Distance,
duration?
yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say.
Yeah, no, just like, yeah. Like, I guess the only time that you use it for, like, long time is you drop it really far, then Q through a bunch of shit, because then they couldn't see it coming. But, yeah, the dropping 2 on top of each other was really, really annoying. So that's a nice change.
Ivern, the base shield on his E has been increased at higher levels. Probably not a huge difference.
I think he's already pretty good, personally, but,
I thought so too.
Yeah, I think he's, I mean, like, maybe A- to still A-, but on the higher end.
I mean, this is a compensation buff because every support character in the game used Battle Song, which got gutted last patch. That being said, I've seen a couple Moonstone Iverns already, and he's still pretty good with Moonstone, so we'll have to see. Cool. Then Karma. Basic attack damage is decreased on Karma, because that's what's holding her back. I guess it is a pretty alright nerf, though. It's mostly for competitive play, where she's played mid and top, because she's super safe. So it's going to make her a little bit harder to like last hit and like get poke damage. But for the general player base, I don't think 3 AD on Karma does anything.
No, I don't think so either. Lillia, also another huge change this patch.
Yeah.
Base health regen is decreased, armor is increased, passive damage is increased and now heals. Q cost is increased, the max stacks decreased. That's the movement speed thing. The bonus movement speed per stack is decreased and lasts longer. The cooldown now scales. Base damage is increased. W damage is increased. E cooldown is increased. The slow is now flat. The base damage is increased later, and the ultimate damage ratio is increased. Sleep duration is decreased. Slow decreased, and no longer increases over the duration. So lots of changes. I'm pretty excited to see how this changes her, because it seems like they're keeping the spirit of the character while sort of just making her better.
I like a lot of the changes. Like, at first I was like, fuck, they're increasing her passive damage. Fuck, that's so gross. But they also made her bowling ball like a much longer cooldown, which was the main way of like proccing stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which I think is good. I think little changes like, as much as I don't like her getting health, like for hitting stuff, like the healing, I do think that makes her a much fucking easier character to pilot. I think she's a character that can have a very healthy clear, but you have to be really fucking good at juggling jungle monsters and like kiting them. And I don't think the majority of the player base can do that properly. So I think that's probably a good change overall. It at least allows her to be played at like lower levels of play. Overall, it seems really, really good though.
Yeah, I also love what a Riot Games thing. You know, there's a lot coming when the summary line is a paragraph. Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks, Riot.
Yeah.
Up next, a much a shorter little patch note. Malzahar, base health is reduced. Q damage is decreased. So he loses 10% AP ratio on his Q and 27 base health.
I mean,
Someone
Malzahar
lost to Malzahar, right?
I do think Malzahar is a character that should always be like below 50% win rate. I think he's someone that you can pilot, like any player can pilot. You click R on people and you're probably playing the character to 80% effectiveness sort of thing. So it's fine if they like he's getting a little bit out of hand win rate wise or something. So it's good.
Speaking of characters that are getting out of hand win rate wise, Nocturne, and what a fucking ankle breaking they did here. Nocturne, passive damage decrease versus minions.
I do think that's pretty
also
big.
not listed. Also not listed is the healing is decreased versus minions, which I think is even bigger.
So
it's funny because they in the summary it just says damage, but in the actual description it says damage and healing are decreased.
Yeah, the healing's the biggest thing because lane So first of all, Nocturne has the highest win rate in top, mid, and jungle.
Rerolls, yep.
So that's problematic. Top and mid being because holy fuck, how do you trade when he's in the middle of a wave and he procs his passive? He heals for like I don't know, like 200 like early. Like it's so good. Also his Q like AD steroid makes him one of the hardest duelists in the game, like level 1. So I think this is
even if you somehow manage to do okay, it's like he has the option to Q auto, kill the whole wave, and then like never have to interact.
Yeah, for sure. I really do think this is a good change overall. I think Jungle Nocturne hasn't been that toxic, at least from what I've played, especially since Stridebreaker's been nerfed. Fucking Stridebreaker Nocturne was something else, but just Lane Nocturne I think was a little bit out of hand. So this is fine. I think this is good.
I do think Stridebreaker was the biggest like cause of Nocturne's rise.
Mhm.
Turns out having a 90% slow when you have a point and click engage from 6 screens away is really problematic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm glad I didn't have to play against that. I didn't deal with any of that shit.
On a character who has hard CC that requires you to stay close for a couple seconds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
It just
comes
combos so
well.
nasty together. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like we're gonna guarantee you get the fear, which was the only thing that was ever somewhat of a challenge, and it wasn't that hard to begin with.
Yeah.
And of course they buffed the damage on it too when they removed the dash, so it was
Yeah.
doing a lot of damage too.
Mhm.
So
crazy.
So up next we have Rek'Sai. The damage on Q1 is increased flat. On Q2 has been increased at higher levels. This is probably pretty needed, especially since that character only has one damage ability. Right?
I do think the way they did this is really smart, though. I feel like no one's ever complained about like the Q range damage, and I feel like the Q early game, like the unburrow damage, like not the unburrow, the prey seeker,
spin. Yeah.
the spin move, that has always been almost too much damage early. So I like that they're only buffing it like later. So it feels like a really good change overall. It seems like
I
they
just wish they
understand
would-
the character.
Sorry. I just wish they would approach this character without just like, okay, numbers.
Yeah, that's
Like,
fair.
I don't know, do something else. I feel like she's the ultimate like stat stick champion. Like if her numbers are high, she gets played.
Yeah.
So oh well. Seraphine, Q base damages or Q damage is increased. So
I think it's
5% more AP at all ranks.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Got some Shaco changes. Base health and movement speed reduced. Shaco's been played a lot, especially jungle and support. So they're making him a little bit less slippery with some of these changes, which I like. Do you want me to also talk about the Tahm Kench changes really quick?
Sure, yeah. You're probably
Yeah, I was gonna
most
say you
equipped.
can run through these.
Yeah, so Tahm Kench is getting a couple changes. They're trying to push him, like, not push him into support, but they're trying to make his support a little bit stronger because he's pretty bad in support right now. They're not trying to, like, nerf his, like, top and mid, though. So his passive bonus damage now scales. His Q now deals passive damage on enemy champions. The heal scaling is changed. The W cooldown refund has like a bug fix to it, and the cooldown and mana refund on it has been increased, and the R base shield is increased early. Ally self to slow is decreased early as well. So to kind of just briefly go over these changes, his passive damage is a nerf to his like on hit damage level 1, and then it evens out level 2, and then at level 18 is plus 5 damage. So like overall you'll be doing slightly more damage with your passive, not by like enough to like call this a buff, but like it is a slight buff. The bigger change is that this passive damage now applies on your Q. So like late game, you're going to be doing 40, 60, whatever extra damage on your Q, which is a pretty fucking big number buff in my opinion. That does come with the change of he's a little bit less like tanky and sustaining because his Q percentage missing health heal has been changed from 10% down to 6% at late game, but it does have a flat amount. So in laning phase, when you're above 800 HP, this is like a decent, whatever, like typically 800 HP is the breaking point, I think, if I did the math on it right. Like depends on obviously what your total HP is, but early to mid game, 800 HP will kind of be the breaking point of when your Q heals you more or less. So if you're above 800 HP, it'll be a buff. If you're below 800 HP, it'll be a nerf. But this is great for laning phase. Having more sustain in laning phase is always good for characters, especially if you're playing top or support.
They should just full send and make his Q apply all on hit effects, so I can play full crit Kench.
Yeah.
If only he had his rework in the off season when they were doing that.
Yeah, really.
In the preseason.
They fixed a bug where the cooldown refund didn't scale properly with the ability haste, so like it would do the cooldown refund and then apply ability haste after or whatever, so you could have it up like 100% of the time as long as you had like a certain amount of ability haste. So they fixed that and they're giving it a little bit more cooldown and mana refund, which is fine. I don't think this is like a huge part of the ability anyways. And then his Art Devour is getting a bigger base shield level 1, which is really, really nice. It kind of felt a little bit low level 1, and they're reducing the ally self slow, which is good. I don't think the ally self slow should be a huge part of it, especially since it's his ultimate ability now. That being said, we'll go to the bug fixes and whatever at the end of the thing, but they didn't fix his biggest bug this patch, which makes me want to die. He has a cool bug, guys, where characters like Shen with his W to make him like untargetable, Jax with his E to make him untargetable, or Timo with his blind that makes you like not hit stuff. If you apply stacks to one of those three characters and then get blinded auto into Jax E, auto into Shen W, you drop all your stacks off of them.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah, so those lanes are
That is a
unwinnable.
massive bug.
Those
Yeah.
are just unwinnable lanes, and they have not fixed that bug. So hopefully they'll
Jesus.
fix that next patch.
So let me just confirm. So you're saying like if you had stacks and then you miss an auto attack for one of those reasons,
Yeah.
it's not that it doesn't apply, it's that it drops them all.
It drops, yeah. If you have 2 stacks on team when he blinds you and you go for another auto, it will drop all your stacks off.
That's dumb. That's bullshit, yeah.
Is it any stacks that works out, or is it a specific number?
It's any stacks, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's crazy that they haven't fixed that because I just don't
Jesus.
play Tahm Kench into those lanes anymore because that is it's
That's
really
wild.
hard.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Cool.
That is outrageous. Truly outrageous. Just like our boy Tarek and his gems. But they're buffing him. The cost of his Q and E are going down because they cost 1 billion mana.
Mhm.
And they took all the mana out of the game this season.
Yeah.
I like this change a lot. I like the E change. I think the Q still costs a lot of mana, but the fact that you can cast it so frequently is it's probably a good thing. But I don't know. I'm excited to give it a shot. Xin Zhao, W cooldown is increased later. This character is kind of a menace. So
He's the Ezreal of
good
jungle.
nerfs. True.
And then Ziggs is getting some mana reduced. Ziggs is kind of crazy right now. I'm glad
What's
he's
his
getting
current base mana now after the change?
420.
Nice.
60 mana is like a fair bit though. Like that is a full
Yeah.
ability. That's like pretty big.
Yeah.
Then items. Do you quickly want to run us through the items, Nick?
Yeah, we'll just do it quick. Dead Man's Plate has 5 more armor. Stride Breaker is getting some changes. It gives him more attack damage, less health. The slow is not going to be 90% anymore. It's just a flat 40 for 3 seconds. And then the Ornn upgrades as well. We've got some visual effects updates for Zillion, a couple new for Lucian and for Renekton, so fix some bugs. And then the Ultimate Spellbook game mode is out. So this is the mode where it's sort of like ability draft. You pick your character and then you pick the extra ultimate to go with it. So you can look at the list of all the characters that are there. Super exciting to give that a shot. I'm probably going to be hosting a community night focused around that in the near future, so pay attention to that. Chat restrictions are changing. They're going to be issued in 3 and 7 day increments rather than 10 and 25 game increments. And then lots of bug fixes, as well as the Sentinel skin line for Vayne, Irelia, Diana, Riven, Olaf, and we've got Ruined Pantheon and Ascended Pantheon Prestige Edition.
These are some of my favorite skins they've released in a while, by the way.
All of the Sentinel ones?
The Sentinel ones are so fucking gas.
Nice.
It's crazy. There's some more coming next patch, which we'll just I just want to quickly spoil them. There's like a Pike one, which might be one of my favorite skins in the game. And then there's a Ruined Misfortune. And holy fuck, I'm so excited for that skin. I love Misfortune as a character, and that skin, it might be my favorite Misfortune skin in the game, and it's coming like next patch. But holy fuck,
yeah.
these are so sick. I'm so excited for this entire event. They've done
Yeah,
a really
these
good
look
job.
like really hype skins, man. I just took a look at them for the first time. Woo.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm so excited.
Hell yeah. And then the Prestige Edition obviously is going to be obtainable with the Prestige points from the event that's coming along with
Prestige idea for like having a ruined Pantheon, but having like an ascended version before it got ruined is
love it.
fucking cool.
I love it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And then we've got chromas for Vayne, Sentinel Vayne, Irelia, Diana, Riven, Olaf, Pantheon, and they're going back and giving one to Karma, Draven, and Shyvana.
Nice.
So pretty cool. That is the whole patch. It is that was a long patch. So we're gonna move along.